Quick question, does your body crave caffeine like mine does? I honestly cannot go through a whole day without having at least 2 or 3 cups of coffee. Over the course of the last couple of years, I've tried different systems, and I thought I'd take this time to demonstrate what I think is the perfect cup of coffee. All right, thanks for sticking around. So, instant coffee, powdered coffee, and pouch coffee are obviously some of the easiest coffees that you can make when you're on the open road. Not always the best tasting coffee, but definitely the easiest. And I did start out at one point with the instant coffee by Starbucks, which obviously is super simple to make. Boil water, pour in a pouch, and consume. Super easy. Now, I actually enjoy the process of making coffee. And again, getting back to really enjoying the camp life, I enjoy the process of actually making coffee. So I've gone from the instant coffees. I actually tried out some of the pouch coffees as well. So this is basically, basically a coffee tea bag. These are great, but the cost per serving is quite expensive, but they are very convenient. When making coffee, do not make coffee and drink it out of these. This here, I don't know what it is. These are great, don't get me wrong. I love my Sea to Summit products, but this for coffee, it takes on the taste of the rubber and it just doesn't make for a very good cup of coffee. So I always recommend drinking out of obviously stainless steel or titanium or some type of mug. So after experimenting with some of the instant options, I kind of realized quickly that I wasn't a big fan. So I went and tried out the AeroPress, which is right here. Now the AeroPress, this is the older version of the AeroPress. I've come to learn that they make one called AeroPress Go. I think the format is a little bit smaller. But when traveling with the AeroPress, I cut this kit down to only a couple of pieces because it just I don't need to bring all of this to achieve the end goal of having a nice hot cup of coffee. What I would do is I would literally only bring the actual plunger, the press itself, the filters, which are these guys here, just these white guys, obviously not all 300 of them, and I would bring just the scoop. So this guy here comes in it as well. This here is just basically a funnel that you can put like this, so you put it in the cup. But I just eliminate this entirely just to save weight. And this is basically just a stir, right? So I get rid of that. So with the AeroPress, basically, it's just a French press. So you have this here. Take yourself some freshly ground coffee. This takes 16 grams of coffee, and I know by experience in weighing it that if I just tamp this a bit, I get 16 grams of coffee. So dump your coffee inside. Get yourself some boiling water out of your jet boil and fill her up. I usually go to around the 3.5 mark here. So what I then do is take the back of the scoop, use this as your stir, give it a quick stir, and then give it around 2 minutes. 2 minutes to steep. Okay, long enough. Then you take your plunger, place it into the cylinder, and carefully, you want to be careful, you don't want to just push on it too hard and make a massive mess. Spill it. You're just going to push this all the way down to the very bottom, and just be careful because it is boiling water, so there is a bit of steam coming out the side of the cup. And you'll just go ahead and press this all the way down to the bottom. Like that. And that's it. It's a pretty simple system. And then your waste, which is one of the best parts, is literally your coffee grinds and just the filter. So I'm going to be fully caffeinated by the time this is done. So moving on from the AeroPress, in the spirit of still sort of staying in that French press environment, I ended up discovering a company called Wakako. And the Pipa Mocha, this is the Wakako Pipa Mocha. This is the first product from them that I've purchased. And this is basically like a vacuum French press. I believe that's what they call it. This is another great system. This doesn't require filters, and everything that you need is self-contained inside the unit. So with this guy here, you get your lid, obviously, you get your scooper, you get your funnel, and then inside here you have your basket, which has your filter, your stainless steel filter built in the top of it. And this one here is quite easy to use. So take your funnel, place it on top of the basket, get yourself 2 scoops of coffee. So you'll take 2 scoops of medium, again, medium to fine grind. And with these types of makers, you'll need to experiment a little bit to figure out what works best in terms of the grind. So this basket just keeps everything from spilling all over, and I've put a little bit too much in, so I'm just going to dump a little bit of that back in there. There we go. So that's good. Then you'll put the lid back on. Sorry, honey, making a mess. So there's your basket filled with coffee. And then what you'll do is you'll take boiling water, and inside here there's several different marker points for different types of coffee. I'm going to go to the 3/4 mark, pour myself a nice regular coffee. There we go. So now what you'll do is you'll take the basket and you'll slip it in here, and then it'll slowly fall down and go through the boiling water. Then you'll take your lid. I usually will just tap it a few times to get the bubbles out of the basket. And again, I think they recommend that you wait 2 minutes for it to actually steep. So then what you do is you put your lid back on. Okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to turn this guy here. And what this does is it pulls the water volume that is sitting above the basket. By turning this, it's actually dragging the basket, which contains the coffee, back up through the water. So you just take this at around this pace. Get a bit of a workout with this system. And we're almost there. And you hear it, sometimes you'll hear a little bit of a release once it's all the way to the top. There. There we go. And then you just open this up, pull this out, and it leaves behind a beautiful cup of coffee. Again, this one here is a little bit more involved, but the end result is the same. Nice hot coffee. Let's get rid of that, put that down there. So this here, again, this is the stainless steel cup that I was talking about. That is great because it's double walled. It's the same as the red one. Forget the name, Luongo, I think they call their cups. But this guy here comes with this nice cup, so you can actually seal this up if you don't finish your cup, or if you make a second cup and you want to take it along. So this will actually seal up and you will be good to go for 3 to 4 hours of hot coffee inside that. So while we're talking Wakako, we're going to move on to the next product, and this is the NanoPresso. So the NanoPresso, again, uses ground coffee, but the format is a little bit smaller and it's a little bit easier to use than the Pipa Mocha. So with this one here, you've got basically your water vessel here. So you'd put boiling water in this guy here. On this end here, you've got your basket. Again, same thing. You fill this up with ground coffee. You use the bottom of the scoop that comes with it as your tamper. And I'll go ahead and I'll make some right now. So I'm going to go ahead and add some ground coffee to the filter basket. And we'll tamper down. You just use the back of the scoop just to level it off. Okay. Take the bottom of the little scoop and just use that as a tamp. This goes on here like so, and you'll put this back onto the bottom here like this and screw this down. So this one here is much faster. Again, this makes more of an espresso style coffee, but you can make an Americano, just add more hot water once this is fully brewed. So one thing that I do recommend that you do is run a bit of hot water through this body before you actually make your cup of, because obviously this is a small amount of water and this will actually cool the coffee down a little bit. So it's nice to have this sort of preheated, if you will. So once you have your boiling water in your cup, you just screw it back on and get your cup. And then it's just simple as giving it some squeezes like this, and it'll slowly, there we go, spits out nice, rich, beautiful gold. And actually it does produce quite a nice crema as well. So you'll go ahead and just keep on pumping this. There you go. What's that saying? Shake it more than once you're playing with it. Anyways, that is super, super simple. Easier than the Pippa Mocha. And then cleanup is basically the same. You've just got to open up the end here and you can just dump out your filter basket. That's it. And then you've got, again, a nice cup of espresso. Delicious. Where I went from here, which is my favorite thing now, this is what I bring on all my trips, I got rid of this part here which holds the coffee grinds, and I added the Wakako NanoPresso NS adapter. So this guy here now goes on the bottom like this. But what it does is it allows me to use Nespresso pods. And the great thing about the Nespresso pods or the Nespresso line is there's many brands out there that offer the pods. So basically the same idea, put your pod in, screw this adapter on, add your water. I'll do it again just for fun. Add your boiling water, screw it on, and my favorite sound is when the capsule is purged. You hear a little, oh, right there. There it is. That's the money shot right there. And what I like about the Nespresso pods is they're all the same weight. It's just very consistent with what you get. With this coffee here, with the grinds, you've really got to fine tune your grind. And you've got to get just the right pace going with the pump in order to get it to extract properly. But I find with these Nespressos, it's not hit or miss. It's always an amazing cup. And again, you can have it as espresso. You can add some boiling water, make it an Americano. What we bring normally, because I like my milk on my coffee, I bring the Boost, like the vanilla flavored Boost, because they don't go bad. And one of those will last me 2 days. So I'll bring a couple of those, and it gives me a little bit of an option for creamer. But this works out perfect. Now, with that said, in my last video I said I had ordered the PicoPresso, and I did. I ordered the PicoPresso, and I was all excited about it. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute, the PicoPresso uses ground coffee. So I canceled that order, and I ordered the NanoPresso, I think it's called the NS2. So it's basically a newer version of this. It's a little bit smaller, I think. And again, I think they've made some refinements to it. So I am excited to try that out. So anyways, in all of my experience with all the different types of devices that I've used and ways of making coffee, obviously this is the easiest. But again, going through the motions of camp and setup in the morning, I love busting out my Wakako products and making myself a nice espresso. So I hope you got a little bit out of this video. And if you have, fantastic. If you want to go ahead and give me a like or subscribe, we've got more to come. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.